Hi, everybody. This project is for the web programming class, and we are team number 5. Um, we have a assignment, and we put together a project for a Scrabble board, and everybody on our team played a vital role in this project. Myself, being Kedra, I played the role of a leader and a designer. Shabang played the role of a coder and a programmer. Ulysses played the role of a tester and user representative. And Kim played the role of a code and programmer. For this project, we decided on option number 3, which is making a really cool board game using HTML and CSS. We chose the game Scrabble as a basis for our board game. Scrabble is a game where you use letter tiles to make words on a board and get points for being clever with your letters. Scrabble has been so popular for so long because it mixes playing with words and thinking ahead to win. You're not just making words, you're playing smart to get the most points. Now, imagine bringing all that fun into the digital world. That's what we're up to with our project. Using HTML and CSS, we're turning Scrabble into a game you can play on your computer. Our goal is to make it super fun and easy to play, just like the classic board game. So get ready for a digital Scrabble adventure where words meet strategy. Thanks for listening, and we're excited to show you the finished game soon.
Hello, this is Jonghyun Kim. Throughout the creation of our project, we used the Kanban methodology to help with the project distribution and organization of our project. We divided the work into parts and would convene via Discord calls to update how our portion of the project was going and to see how everyone else was doing their part. We also used text channels for any concerns or updates to the projects that happen outside of the calls that we would have and would assist the other members on parts of the project that they couldn't figure out or were struggling with. Our project has some goals that we really wanted to reach. One of the goals that we wanted was for it to have a cool look and for it to be easy to use. We aimed for a design that's not only nice to look at, but also super easy for anyone to use. We also wanted for our project to have moving pictures. We added animations to make our project more alive and fun. Things just look better with a more static web page. We also wanted to stick to the classics. We love the original game so much that we decided to keep it just like how it's always been. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Another important goal for us was that it was for everyone, anytime. We wanted our creation to be something for anyone, no matter their age or how much they know their tech stuff. We kept it simple and close to the original game to make it easy for everyone to jump in and play. Just like the traditional game, users will receive their tiles. The task is to strategically utilize these tiles to construct words on the digital board. Each letter comes with its assigned point value, maintaining the essence of the original game. Additionally, we've integrated bonus tiles into the system. These are no ordinary tiles, they function as multipliers, akin to the original game's concept. Placing a word strategically on a bonus tile amplifies the points earned, adding a layer to tactical thinking to the game. In summary, our focus is on creating a seamless user experience by blending traditional gameplay with technological sophistication. Users input words, and the system, with its intricate algorithms, responds by calculating points. Bonus tiles introduce an extra layer of complexity, rewarding strategic thinking.
Hello, I am Ulysses Adams, and for our design overview, we used HTML to craft the individual rows of our Scrabble board, complete with the usual letter tiles and those special tiles that add extra zing to the game. HTML laid the foundation for the board, creating a familiar environment for players. CSS stepped in to ensure a seamless experience on your screens. It wasn't just about fitting the proportions, it was about making the game visually appealing. CSS worked its magic with transforming and animations, adding a dynamic touch to the game board. The goal is not just accuracy, but also a design that fits well and looks great on your devices. So in a nutshell, we've taken the classic 15 by 15 board, used HTML to structure it, and CSS to make it visually engaging and well fitted for your screens. Alright. And this is another part of our design overview. This is our UML diagram. As you can see, we have a couple individual classes here following the Scrabble board as the main system. Building the Scrabble board, we just had the simple logo that we had acquired at the start of the project, and we implemented a point system to help keep up with the user's scores. The Scrabble board is made of rows, and the rows are made of individual tiles, such as just the blank white tile, the double letter score tile, the triple letter score tile, the double word and the triple word score tiles, and inside the tiles are point systems that are connected with the point system class. And all of these come together to create the Scrabble board. This is our board game preview for our Scrabble board that we created for the class. It's just a typical 15 by 15 Scrabble board that everyone's used to seeing. And inside the Scrabble board, there are tiles that help bring bonus points. As you can see, there's diagonal lines made with the tiles, such as the double word score, the triple letter score, and
Hello, I'm Shaban, and I'm going to be talking about the technologies used in our Scrabble project. So first, for the code breakdown, we used predominantly HTML to create the grid structure and rows of our Scrabble board, and used some short but efficient CSS tools to make the Scrabble grid look more realistic and look like the board that we're all used to seeing. So first, I'll cover the functionality of our CSS. Our CSS page is used to style a static web page that simulates the Scrabble board. So the styles are applied to various HTML elements to create the visual representation of the board. So an overview explaining the function of our style page. First, for the default styles, the code begins by resetting the default margins and paddings for various HTML elements to ensure a clean slate for styling. Then we set the font and text size. The Poppins font is applied to the entire page, which we imported, and a base font size is set for the page at 13 pixels. Then we decided to start styling the page container. The container element is defined as a flex container with a 75% width centered horizontally, and we gave it a background color that looked nice. And it also has a solid border with a brown color. And then we moved on to styling the Scrabble sidebar. So the Scrabble element in our CSS is styled with a blue background color, and it's a fixed width. So that way, even if the window is manipulated, it will remain about 10% in width of your total window size. And the text inside it is centered and colored white. one of the key components of our CSS was to use some of the animation tools that are native to CSS for our Scrabble tiles. So the tile element within the Scrabble containers are getting a rotating animation that rotates them by about 30 degrees. The animation lasts for about 3 seconds and then will repeat infinitely as long as the user is on the page. The animation is defined with keyframes, and then we have it rotate from 0 to 360 degrees with each keyframe. Then we moved on to styling the logo. So the logo element is rotated 90 degrees clockwise, which makes it appear vertically on the right side of the page. It's also positioned relative to everything else. So shifting it down, which is what shifts it down and to the right. Then we get to the main Scrabble board. So the main board element is centered with about 90% width, so it takes up most of the user's page, and it is surrounded by the remaining content. This element serves as the main game board. And then creating rows for the board, we used a row element, and these elements are defined with the main board to hold the tiles. They're set to display as a flex container with no wrapping, so the tiles will always align horizontally. Then moving on to the tiles themselves, the tile elements within the rows are styled with a width of about 100 pixels and a smaller margin, and also centered text. The line height is adjusted to vertically center the text. And then we moved on to defining specific types of tiles. So the different tile types are defined as the white tile element, and then some of the other HTML native elements like TW and DL, each with unique background colors, borders, and box shadow properties. And then we set the standard color of the text to dark gray. We also have a star element, and the class defines a font size that's about twice as big as any of the other text to make the star symbol stand out. This could also be used for special tiles on the Scrabble board. And in summary, the CSS code block is responsible for styling various elements of a static web page to create a visual representation of the Scrabble board, complete with tiles and game-related styling. It also includes animations and positioning to achieve the desired layout. To complete the Scrabble board, we could create the HTML structure that I will get to in a moment and place the elements defined in the CSS code within that structure. So finally, I'll briefly go over our HTML code blocks. Our HTML structure represents one row of a Scrabble board, and it can be used in conjunction with the CSS code block that I just went over to achieve the Scrabble board layout. So we're going to break down how the HTML structure relates to the CSS and how we can create the entire Scrabble board using the div structure that you see in the image provided. So here's how the HTML elements in our code correspond to the CSS. The row class is the key component to creating the 15 by 15 grid. This is a container for the tiles in one row of the Scrabble board. In the CSS, the row class is styled to display its child tiles in a horizontal row with no wrapping. So these elements represent individual tiles on the Scrabble board. The white tile class applies for styling the regular white tiles, and inside each tile there's a paragraph element with the class empty tile. These paragraphs are used to create the visual representation of empty tiles on the Scrabble board. And these paragraphs inside certain tiles are used to represent special tiles on the board, like triple word bonuses. The DW and DL tiles indicate double word and double letter tiles respectively, and each tile is given a class that corresponds to its type. For example, a white tile or a double word tile, as defined in the CSS. And the CSS classes define the appearance, background colors, and other styling properties of the tiles based on their type. So what I just covered explains how we used HTML to achieve a single row of the Scrabble board. To create the entire Scrabble board, we can simply replicate that HTML div structure for multiple rows and adjusting the content inside each tile as needed. So that covers the core components of our CSS and HTML. So that's, I don't know what to say here.
Okay, so here we have a live demo of the board that we created. And if you recall some of the CSS elements I outlined earlier, we can see them in action here. For example, the CSS animation code block that I provided an overview for can be seen with these tiles on the left. And you can see how they rotate 360 degrees in the given time that we had put in our CSS code. And then you can also see some of the special tile placement that we had to do. And the CSS portion did some interesting counting mechanics with the native nth child tool in CSS. So you can see how we created diagonal special tile that Scrabble is famous for. And then finally, we also implemented a 15 by 15 grid with HTML using the div rows that we showed earlier in the HTML slide. And combining all the elements that I went over in the technology section of our presentation, we were able to achieve a pretty good static implementation of what a Scrabble board could look like using only HTML and CSS. Thank you.
All right, we were Team 5, and that was our HTML and CSS based Scrabble board. I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a great day. Bye.